Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. This is my first time doing anything sports related or completely unrelated to movies or shows, but I love boxing. I've been a huge Floyd Mayweather fan since I think 2007. I've watched all his fights. I watched this one. A little bit different because it wasn't a professional fight, but it's over, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on the fight and the event and the spectacle. So here we go. When they first announced this fight, I couldn't tell if they were being serious because, there's always a lot of Floyd Mayweather rumors going around the internet. And when I finally found out, I thought it was going to be like the Conor McGregor fight, like it was going to be a professional fight, and I was completely against that. But then I found out it was an exhibition, so I was completely okay with it because exhibitions are whatever. And if you saw the fight, you could see that's clearly what it was. Like there was no winner, there was no definitive outcome. It was just two guys in a boxing exhibition match. For the most part, if you had to give a score or decide a winner, without a doubt, Floyd won. Logan Paul he was trying in the first round when he was still fresh. He was jabbing. He was doing most of the work while Floyd was kind of avoiding him. But you can clearly see he was trying to tire him out. His strategy was to tire him out, let him throw all these punches, which of course Logan Paul did. By the end of round one, he just started throwing everything at him. He started hitting him with every punch he can throw at him, and Floyd just got behind his arms and he couldn't do anything. So Mayweather wasn't phased, and Logan Paul, opening bell round two, you could clearly tell he was tired. He was starting to get tired. Floyd started upping his work rate a little bit, but yeah, he kept trying to hit him with punches, but Logan Paul was just too tired. He kept grabbing and holding on to him excessively. Like even when Floyd wasn't punching, he was still holding on to him. But I mean, win or lose for either fighter, my bad, disrespect. Win or lose for Floyd Mayweather or win or lose for Logan Paul, it doesn't matter either way. It's an exhibition. Like Floyd said, it was fun. Logan Paul, congratulations to him. But yeah, it was just about fun. It was just about entertainment, a spectacle, and of course money, because both these guys got paid. I'm pretty curious to see what were the pay-per-view buys like, because I was watching the arena and there was a lot of empty seats, which isn't typical for a Floyd Mayweather fight. But of course, this isn't one of his professional fights. Like it wasn't against Manny Pacquiao or Canelo or Shane Mosley or any of those fights. So there was a lot of empty seats, and it was actually surprising. I thought it would have been sold out. I thought at least if the pay-per-view buys weren't high, the arena itself would still be sold out, or at least close to it, to where you wouldn't be able to see so many seats empty. Logan Paul looked like he was having a good time. He looked kind of nervous. I'm pretty sure his heart was beating pretty fast, just being on that stage. And Floyd Mayweather walked out after Miko's performance. But yeah, it was a pretty good fun. It was a fun event. It was good to watch. It wasn't anything to be taken seriously. Again, I much more enjoyed the Devin Haney versus Jorge Linares, and August 21st, looking forward to that Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. But yeah, tonight was just entertainment. It was just a spectacle. Nothing to look into, nothing to analyze. There was no decisive winner. It was just two guys having fun and just being competitive. That was all. A lot of people, or some people from what I've seen, are making a big deal of, well, Floyd Mayweather, he didn't KO him, so technically he got the L. It's an exhibition. It doesn't matter. If he knocks him out, he knocks him out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Plus, it's pretty hard to knock out somebody who's on you, like who's hugging you and holding you the entire fight. Like even when the ref is saying let go, Logan Paul is still holding on to him, and you gotta remember, it's not like someone who's 155 pounds like Floyd. This is a guy who's over 200 pounds leaning on him and pushing him against the ropes, and he just won't let go of him. Like, doesn't matter what their skill deficit is, Logan Paul is significantly stronger. Like, you can see the way he was pushing Floyd around the ring when he was trying to hold him. So there's really nothing Floyd can do in those instances. All he can do is wait for the ref to break it up. But it don't matter if he, for all we know, Floyd let him get away. He took it easy on him, and why wouldn't he? This has nothing to do with professional record. His career's over. This was just an exhibition match. So why should he go all out? He didn't even have a training camp. All Floyd did was exercise. I mean, he's always been in pretty good shape. He's never let himself balloon up in between fights. But now that he's retired, I mean, he's still in pretty good shape. He was in much better shape for this than the exhibition in, I don't know if it was Tokyo, but I believe it was in Japan with that Japanese guy. Because in that fight, that was the worst shape I've ever seen Floyd in. But he looked much better in this one. He didn't look the same as he did in his professional fights. But I mean, he's retired and he's 44 years old, so gotta cut him some slack for that. But he still looked great. His stamina was great. But I mean, he didn't knock him out. It is what it is. For all we know, he let him get away, or maybe he just wasn't taking it seriously. And Logan Paul, he went the full 8 rounds. Congrats to him. I'm pretty sure that's going to be an accomplishment, a story for his grandkids and his family and his friends. So, I mean, it was a cool event, but people making such a big deal of this. Floyd was supposed to KO him. He wasn't supposed to do anything. It was an exhibition. So much hate like surrounding this fight with people and their excuses, and then they just like to make insults towards people when they have no logical reasoning for anything that they say. Floyd Mayweather should be fighting a real fighter. What is he doing fighting YouTubers? He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. It's ridiculous that they're making this much money when there are great fighters, young fighters that have worked their whole lives to get a shot at Floyd. Who works their entire life to get a shot at a retired professional fighter who's 44 years old? That doesn't make any sense. No young fighter is working their entire lives to fight an old man who's been retired. I mean, if he was like 31 years old or something, kind of like, actually no, Canelo and Andre Ward. Andre Ward, I think, is like 37, 38 years old, so he's still pretty old in terms of boxing years, so yeah. But the way Floyd came back when he was, I think he was 32 when he came back to fight Manuel Marquez. So if he was that old, I mean, that would make more sense. But Floyd's been retired for years, and his career's done. So who calls out old fighters? That just doesn't make any sense. He has nothing to prove. He gave the boxing world 50 fights. He was heavily underappreciated. He's a cherry picker. He's a clown. He's a runner. All false claims. There's no evidence to support any of that. But if you're gonna hate on him like that when he's a professional, then why do you care what he does when he's retired? Like, he's doing this because he wants to. Like, it doesn't matter if it's for money. It doesn't matter if it's for attention. This is what he wants to do with his time. He's making money for it, and that's what it is. If someone offered me $100 million to do what I do every day, or whoever's listening, if someone offered you $100 million to do what you do every day or what you've done many times before, why wouldn't you take that opportunity? For anybody who wouldn't do that, that just says a lot more about you. With as hard as life can be, as hard as it is to get money like that, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you'd say no because principle doesn't pay your bills, principle doesn't feed your family. And I don't know what kind of principles you would have that are against making money for something you already do. So, I mean, people are crazy. And as far as Logan Paul making that much money, I mean, he's a YouTube star. He already makes money with or without this fight. But the reason he's making a lot of money is because he's bringing a lot of followers, a huge audience to this fight. I mean, and that's pretty much how all professional fights go. Like, so you have an A side and you have a B side. It doesn't matter if the B side is better than the A side. The A side is still going to get the lion's share of the money because they draw more of an audience. That is how the business of boxing goes. That is how business in general goes. It doesn't matter who has the better product. It doesn't matter who's better in terms of skill. All that matters is who sells more. That is all. Right now, LeBron James, he may or may not be the best player in the world. I don't think he is. I think he's done at the top of the sport. But he's probably still going to be selling the most merchandise because he's the most popular. That's just how it is. Now you have a lot of young fighters trying to do things the Floyd Mayweather way and try to get money. But Floyd Mayweather paved the way to that. It's not like he just took every single easy fight and then started making millions. You have Ryan Garcia trying to avoid every top fighter in his division, calling out Manny Pacquiao. Like, don't worry about Manny Pacquiao, worry about the fighters in your division. You have Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo calling out Canelo. I'd rather see Canelo versus Charlo, but either way, hey, you guys don't fight each other. You can call Canelo out all day, but you can't fight each other. Like everyone's just trying to get the payday without fighting the top guys. And it just doesn't work that way. But Logan Paul, he got this opportunity because he's a YouTube star with a huge following, and it made for an exciting fight. It was different, it was out of the ordinary, and it worked. I don't know what the pay-per-view buys are going to be like, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty good. I don't think they'll be pretty bad because Floyd knows how to sell a fight. I will say though that something I want Mayweather to do is, if he's gonna keep having these exhibitions, which I'm all in favor of. If he wants to do this, that's fine by me. But it would be great if they just put on these huge events with the best, like the best of the best professionals on his undercard, because that's what Canelo did. Canelo, when the first fight I saw Canelo in was when he was 19, fighting Jose Miguel Cotto on the undercard of Mayweather versus Mosley. And fighting on that undercard got him that exposure. So, I mean, he would have been popular in Mexico no matter what, maybe, but worldwide success, that is in part, or greatly in part, due to fighting on Mayweather's undercard. Mayweather's name is huge. That's why this event was huge. It's not because of Logan Paul, even though he does have a following. The reason it's big is because of Mayweather. So if you have all these young fighters fighting on his undercard and putting on these great fights, hey, they might even steal the show. People might care about those fights more than the main event, and I don't blame them because they're actual professional fights. But the point being, he can help fighters in that way. Like, even if they're fighters under his promotional banner, you can have Tank on his undercard, Errol Spence, they're friends, or they know each other. They're good acquaintances. Like, well, I don't know what to call them, but you can have them. You can have him on the undercard, or Devin Haney and stuff like that. So on top of bringing like a new audience to the sport, you also put on good fights. So they're not just getting the spectacle and the event of the exhibition, but they're actually getting real, true professional boxing at its finest. So I think that'd be great. Hopefully, if Mayweather decides to do these exhibitions, hopefully that's the thing that he considers, because I didn't really care for the other fights. I only caught the highlights because I didn't have time to watch it all. I'll probably go back and watch it if I can. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I cannot wait for the Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence will win. I'm not counting Pacquiao out because, I mean, he's Manny Pacquiao, but from what I've seen in his most recent fights, like, he's getting old, and the experience makes up the age deficit a little bit, kind of like with Bernard Hopkins. But I mean, there's only so much he can do. So I think Errol Spence will win, but I'm not counting Pacquiao out. He does have a chance, a big chance, a good chance. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, which may be on Friday, because I wasn't planning on doing this originally. But if I don't do it this Friday, it'll for sure be the next Friday. But thank you so much for watching, and see you then. Bye bye.